Hey, folks, Wilson Morales, Black from the TV. Kerry, it's good to see you on another series.
So good to see
Obviously,
you.
as I spoke to Tracy, she says that, you guys are not playing the real Tracy and her father. So how did you want to play this role knowing it's based on Tracy? Kerry?
Uh, yeah, we knew that the show was inspired by Tracy and her dad, and there's a great word that I've heard Delroy use. We tried to use them as a departure point. We really let them inspire us and be, for me, kind of the seed of where the performance was sprouting from. But I wanted to make sure that I was honoring kind of the essence of Tracy's story and her identity, but inviting myself to create another character that belongs to the show and belongs to this specific narrative. And that was me, me plus Tracy plus this alchemy of what we do when we create character.
And for you, Delroy, obviously, Tracy said, her dad did not come in love with her, but, you bring a certain wit to this role, so what was it on the page that you said, I can do this and I can make it my own?
Good question. I think there were a couple of keys in entry points. One was in speaking with Kerry and Tracy when we were first speaking. They said they wanted to illuminate, shed light on, and dispel certain stereotypical thoughts, ideas that people may have about, imprisoned, incarcerated, or formerly incarcerated individuals. That for me was a springboard, because what that meant, what that meant was that I was not going to be shackled, no pun intended. I was not going to be shackled by anything, but rather I could bring my own kinds of responses, my own kinds of instincts based on meeting Tracy's dad, talking to Tracy, reading her book, but I could take all of that, data, and then I could start to create from that. And every single interview that we've had this morning thus far, I've learned something. And you just used wit. I never, Kerry and I, we're both aware we're not, the comedy is not our go-to. And being comedic and being witty in this process was not anywhere in my thought process. What was in my thought process was being truthful in the moments. So from that standpoint, I have to tip my hat to the writing. I have to tip my hat to my fellow workers, because we created all of this together. And if there is wittiness, it organically came from our process of working together.
But also your process of capturing Edwin's charm and his intelligence, which was part of dispelling those stereotypes of who returning citizens are, that you brought so much lightness and intelligence and charm to who he is, that we got to see that. With that, I think led to some of the wit that Wilson's talking about.
And there was another key piece of information. And Tracy said in one of our very first, if not the first meeting that we had, she said, if you were to meet my dad and just sit down and speak with him for 15, 20 minutes and not know he had been incarcerated, you would not know. And that, I interpreted that, oh, okay, he's not. And I would venture to say that a lot of formerly incarcerated individuals, you don't look at them necessarily walking down the street and say, oh, that dude right there has been in the joint. Mm-hmm. They're human beings. Mm-hmm. And so the job of work became to mine and excavate the humanity in these people.
Well, you guys did well. I think the word you used, charming, because both of you guys are charming as the characters.
Thank you.
Maybe want to, where we're going to go with this, but hey, keep it going. I'm always here to support. So have yourself a great day.
God bless. Thank you, man. Thank you so much.
Wilson Morales from Black Film and TV. Hello, Tracy. How's it going?
Hi, Wilson. Really well.
So you've been part of other shows. So how did the brainchild for this begin?
Well, this story is coming directly from my life. My dad was in prison pretty much my whole life, and he got out after 19 years. The only difference is he didn't come to live with me, but I wanted to imagine what it would be like if he had. Because when he got out of prison, I knew that we were going to face a journey together about how are we going to put this relationship back together on the outside. You know, we knew how to have a relationship when he was in prison, but having a relationship on the outside was a whole different thing.
Now, was his personality the same that we're getting from Delroy, or we're taking liberties here?
Well, here's the thing. Delroy was very clear. He didn't want to impersonate my dad. He wanted to create a character like an actor of his caliber would want to do. So we're very much inspired by real life. We're not necessarily only telling stories that only happened in real life. It's really a starting point. So the person Delroy's playing, Edwin, is actually a different person than my dad.
And what about Kerry? At the end of the day, people are going to say, oh, she's playing me, but she's not like you. And granted, as you just mentioned about Delroy, you don't want to be a total, ripoff, but at the same time, there's got to be some similarities there. So how much is Kerry playing you?
Well, it's kind of interesting because I think Kerry's playing a character, right? But sometimes people watch the show and say, wow, she really paid attention and studied you. So I think it's hard to know how you are in the world. But definitely she took some of my mannerisms. She definitely watched me closely. But again, she's an actor. So she is building a whole character. And, that is beyond just whatever I have going on.
The show is, I kind of call it a dramedy because there's Delroy provides the unofficial humor in the series. You just get a kick out of him coming out and being as real as you think he could be, and just like, let's see where this is playing out, and Kerry is just like, character like, okay, what is she looking for? As she's talking to her phone, which I consider like the fourth wall.
Yes.
She is talking to an audience,
Yes.
So as you watch this unfold, did you have a hand in working with the writers to see how it plays out?
Oh, I am the writer. So I am the creator of the show. I wrote the first and last episode. All the scripts come through my computer before they are filmed. I've been a television writer for 16 years. So this was kind of the culmination of all the experience that I have as a television writer sort of coming to bear. And also, I'm an influencer also. I work in the area of relationships. I'm a relationship coach, and I host a show on the Oprah Winfrey Network. So this show is like bringing together kind of all the pieces of everything that I'm interested in.
Well, you got all the components. You've got, your name, your brand, what you've done. You've got Kerry, you got Delroy. But I always say there's a glut of programs these days because you got streaming channels and cable and regular television and whatever's can be in theaters. We have an assortment of options of what to watch. Yeah. What's going to get an audience to watch this?
Well, I think the performances are going to blow people away. I don't think you've ever seen Kerry Washington play this kind of character. And you've never seen Delroy. An actor of his caliber, like he is incredible in this role. I think that what is really going to attract people to this show is the father-daughter relationship and the family relationship, the grandfather and the grandson. This is about a family. First, yes, it's about a man who gets out of prison and how does he establish a relationship with his daughter and grandson 17 years later. But what it's really about is very relatable, just family dynamics. And how do we love the people that we're closest to? How do we accept them? How do we forgive them? How do we build trust? All those things.
Congrats on this. Let's hope we can get more out of this. Let the audience decide that. But either way, I'm sure we'll talk next season or your next project.
All right. Thank you.
Take care. Wilson Morales from Blacksmith TV. It's been a minute.
Woo! So good to see you again. It's been some hours. It's been some years, actually. But I was looking forward to this moment. I was.
You've been working for a good minute, different projects. What led you to say yes to this one?
Oh, Kerry Washington, Delroy Lindo, Yvette Bowser, Tracy McMillan, Onyx. The content was good. I also needed a job, so it was this or OnlyFans, and I chose this, and I am grateful to be here.
So when you take on this role that you're playing, is this the type of role you're doing research on, or is it just by go by the script?
This is definitely a type of role that I'm doing research on. For me, every project, everything, I really want to fully embody a character and a person and really present a full life. And so for this particular project, interviewed many different people, watched a lot of documentaries to really get in the space, because Mal is a criminal justice social caseworker, not a PO. No shade to POs, but he's somebody who is the most secure of the attachment styles. He is the rock for Edwin in their individual way and for Paige in their individual way. And as they try to, recalibrate after being incarcerated and whatnot. And he's somebody who, just had a level of forgiveness and compassion and empathy and understanding and acceptance that, he was just somebody who I wanted to be at that time and didn't know that that's what I needed when this project came along in my life.
This definitely puts things in a different perspective because one, you don't always know when somebody's just coming out the joint unless they tell you, and so obviously you want to see them given a new life, a new lease on life.
Yeah.
And so, that's how it is for this role. And because of the projects you worked on, and on this particular series, what would you say has evolved among your skill set as an actor in doing this?
Being able to listen, really this is the one thing that I think about, because one, it's Kerry and Delroy. And so if I thought about it too much, like what was actually happening, I would have lost my job because I just, I would not be able to deliver. I'm freaking out. I'm, the first day that we work, like halfway through the day, I stop. There's a scene between me, Kerry, and Delroy, and I'm like, look, I just want y'all to know that I'm freaking out right now, and I can't pretend that this is not happening. And then I just start rambling off like what they mean to me, just in terms of Black people as artists, as business people. And, they were just so open and gracious in answering all of my questions, being an open book. And, like in the work, in the scenes on camera, literally all I had to do was listen. If I just listened, then I would just respond naturally and just tell the truth, tell Mal's truth. So that is the greatest lesson that I got from this project in terms of like my evolution of, my craft and whatnot, just really listening.
You mentioned earlier, Kerry, Delroy, Yvette, obviously, a paycheck. But when you're looking for projects, whether it's you're being called upon or you're auditioning, what is it you're looking for? What is it that you look to do before you say yes?
Something fresh, something that I haven't done before, something that's good. Something.
But you don't know if it's going to be good.
Uh-huh.
You don't know if it's going to be good.
Something. Right. Because I've been got a couple times now. I got a couple times. But what I can say is that the times where I feel like I've got in terms of projects that I've done, it was because I did not listen to my instincts all the way, and I was playing for somebody else, whether it had been a rep or a different reason, as opposed to listening to my gut and being like, this is it and this is not it. So every time I've listened to my gut, I've been A-okay. And I listened to my gut on this one and we A-okay.
Mm-hmm. I like the show. I like where it goes. I was telling Delroy, his character is very witty fool because it's like, you like where he goes. He's not that hardened criminal and,
right,
ready to strike out the world. He's just having fun. And the rest of you are having fun. So congrats on the role. I'm sure I'll see you in person somewhere else.
Yeah.
Have a good one.
You too. Stay safe and see you at the next one for sure. Always a pleasure.
Wilson Morales from Black Women TV. Hello, folks. How's it going?
Good morning. We're good. How are you?
Good. So, Jordyn, talk to me about playing a young Kerry Washington.
Oh, can you please repeat the question?
Can you talk about playing this role as the young Kerry Washington, the character?
It was great. I got to release my anger of things that happened in the past. I got to say words that I'm not allowed to say. I also got to really actually talk to Miss Kerry, and we would just talk about, sometimes we'll just talk about random things in the outside world, but sometimes we'll like talk about how we can match our character. And when I saw, every time I walked on set and she was there, we would always have the same outfit. She's like, "Why'd you steal my outfit?" I'm like, it's the ghost version of you. That's why. She was like, "Oh, silly me." And we would always laugh, bond. But as little Paige, she would always get feisty. She would, for sad scenes, she would get into the moment like, "Girl, you got it. It's fine. Okay." And for scenes that she's angry, she's about to tackle somebody of her anger. And she's also like, in some scenes that are fun, she would always like, "Let's go."
And finally, obviously, you're playing the one in the middle, the one that knows but can't say anything.
Stuck in the
So like,
middle.
it's definitely stuck in the middle. How do you relate to the character you're playing?
I think Finn he's definitely the glue of the show. And I think in terms of my own life, I think in terms of everyone's life, I think a lot of people can relate in that sense. At one point in your life, you're going to be the glue at one point, sooner or later, between two people, between two things. That feeling of trying to hold two people together, it's stressful, it's tiring. But when you really love two people, sometimes you just gotta push for it. You gotta work hard for it,
When you're working opposite, Kerry and Delroy, and obviously with the team around you, there's a lot of veterans in that group. What do you pick up skill set wise that helps you out for the next episode, the next, scene that you're doing, or the next project you're going to do?
Oh yeah, no, working with Kerry and Delroy, it's like a full-on masterclass. They taught me a lot of freedom as an actor that I didn't know I had. In fact, when they're on set, I always thought of acting as, you're given the script and you act, but then I see Kerry and Delroy and, they're more collaborators, they show up on set and they have ideas. They have, great ideas of things that they could do to elevate the show. And I'd never seen it that way or thought about it like that. So, every episode with more experience, getting to work with them more and more and more, I could literally feel my crafting as an actor getting stronger and stronger, and seeing like the difference between how I was working in episode 6 versus episode 1. It was a big difference for me. And they've taught me a lot, and I'm going to carry everything they've taught me with me for the rest of my life.
Jordyn, every time you came on screen, I said, "Is that her real hair? Did she grow it out, or is it putting on a wig with you?"
Technically kind of both. Actually, for the first half of the season, they like had my natural hair with some highlights. I looked amazing. I looked fabulous. But it came to a scene that it had to get a little messy, and they put a wig on, so like my real hair wouldn't get dirty, because I love my hair. It's precious. And then for the rest, I just wore a wig, because they're like, it takes less time to actually like puff up my hair, put lots of hairspray, and then put the clips in, other than just get a wig, put it on, tuck it in, done.
You guys did amazing. Congratulations on the roles.
Thank
I'm
you.
excited to see more of it. Obviously, it's going to do well. Keep it going. Have yourself a great day.
You as
too.
well. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.